Good morning and welcome to the June 9th, 2021 City Council meeting. We will start with the invocation by Councilman Heaney, followed by the pledge. If you'll stand with me, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dear Lord, thank you for your blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We ask that you continue to bless our great city. Grant us the wisdom to govern as you see fit. Grant us the wisdom to understand your will. And grant us the wisdom to act justly in your name. And grant us the confidence to carry out your will that you have for us. We are blessed with the ability for all 7 of us to unite and work together for the common good for our great city. Continue to nurture these working relationships for the benefit of the entire community. All honor and glory is yours. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start off with the minutes from April 28th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Move to approve minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Westbrook, second by Heaney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Zoning, Kyle.
Morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
I was going to present items Z1 and O1 together as they are related. They are for the same property. The first item is Z1, which is a request for a voluntary annexation of approximately 5.16 acres of land. This is located at the southeast corner of County Road 219 and Highway 64 East. The request is to annex the property into the city limits to allow for the extension of the alcohol ordinance to the property that is currently developed with a gas station and convenience store who would like to be in the city to be able to have to sell alcohol, beer and wine to go for off-premise consumption. The larger property is currently undeveloped, but the applicant does plan to or they do want this annex so they can potentially expand onto that property at some point. The property is contiguous to the city of Tyler on its western boundaries. This is on the eastern side of the city limits. The property is narrower than a half mile and has no qualified voters, or it's not a residential property, it's commercial property. The Tyler First, or the original zoning for the property would be C2, General Commercial District. As you can see, there is C2 in the area as well as M1 Light Industrial zoning along Highway 64 East. The Tyler First plan or future land use guide does not have a future land use designation for the property. This annexation would establish the future land use guide to reflect general commercial, which is consistent with what you see along Highway 64 East. Again, like I mentioned, the purpose of the annexation is to allow for the city to convey the wet-dry status to these areas, or to these properties. The item O1, which is the next item, which I'm going to combine with this one. O1 is a request that the City Council adopt an ordinance to convey the wet-dry status to this property in accordance with Texas Alcoholic Beverage Code, Section 251.725. And essentially that allows the city, after a property is annexed, to convey that wet-dry status on the stipulation that the area that's annexed cannot be more than 1% of the total area covered by the municipality. This area is less than 1% of the entire city limits. That the properties, it must be zoned commercial, and the proposed annexation is to zone the property as commercial, and that the property cannot be adjacent to residential, school, or church property. The applicant has indicated that these conditions are met. They actually reduced the annexation area by 20 feet on the southeast side, so they were not adjacent to residential property. The Planning and Zoning Commission by a 6-0 vote recommended approval of the annexation, which also establishes the new boundary of the city limits, the new boundary of City Council District Number 4, the new boundary of the Tyler Extraterritorial Jurisdiction, the ETJ. Also to authorize the city manager to sign a written agreement for provision of city services in accordance with the Texas Local Government Code. Establish the future land use guide to reflect general commercial, and to establish original zoning for the 5.16 acres to C2 general commercial district. There was one letter returned in opposition, that's in yellow, because that property is outside the city limits. They were given an opportunity to respond, and their concern was them being annexed, and so only the property in green is being proposed to be annexed. No other properties are being annexed. And so, with that being said, I do have two recommendations. The first recommendation is for City Council to approve 01, authorizing the sale of beer and wine for off-premise consumption on approximately 5.16 acres of land located at the southeast intersection of Highway 64 East and County Road 219, contingent on that property being annexed, which is the properties here. And then, like I mentioned before, the Planning and Zoning Commission also recommended approval of Z1.
Any questions or comments for Kyle?
Yeah, I've got a question for you. Kyle, on the 20-foot strip that's not going to be part of the annexation, is that just going to serve as a buffer?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's still part of the property, but that area is not going to be in the city limits. So essentially, the city limits will be 20 feet from the property line.
Any other questions?
Move
Deborah,
to-
can we vote on Z1 and O1 together?
I'd prefer a separate vote for each one of them. That's what we're.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for Z1.
Move to approve Z1.
Second.
Motion by Wynn, second by Westbrook. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I'll entertain a motion for O1.
Move to approve 01.
Motion by Wynn, second by McGee. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. O2, is that Cassandra? Good morning, Cassandra.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. This one, I'm requesting that the city council consider adopting an ordinance amending Tyler City Code Chapter 1 by clarifying the review process and timing for city board appointments. As currently written, Section 1-20B provides that in August of each year, applications shall be submitted to city council. The code also states that all city board applicants shall be considered at a city council meeting in August. Although August is the preferred date, applications are received at all times of the year, and not all applications may be received or considered by August of each year. In order to provide the city council with maximum discretion as to timing of city board appointments, as well as to improve efficiency and to reflect current practices, the attached ordinance contains the following recommended amendments. We're adding a reference to the general training that board members currently receive and removes the reference to board members submitting a certification. It keeps the August target date, but references the ability of city council to consider city board appointments on other dates at its discretion. It deletes the provision that appointments should be made by the last council meeting in August, and adds a reference to current conflict of interest reviews being conducted by the city attorney's office. So at this time, I'm recommending that the city council consider adopting attached ordinance amending Tyler City Code Chapter 1 by clarifying the review process and time for city board appointments.
Any questions for Cassandra?
Second.
Motion by McGee, second by McKellar. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. M1. Benny.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
Item before you is for us to request to replace 21 older servers that they have connected all the camera around the cities to bring into one. We looked at upgrading each individual, but it was cost prohibitive. It was around $167,000 and some more change to replace that while bringing it down to centralization and bring all the data. Not that it helps us to save money, but also helps us to maintain for security and proper maintenance of the servers. So we request the council to authorize us to purchase the server so we can continue monitoring all of our security cameras and centralizing.
Any questions for Benny?
Move to approve M1.
Second.
Motion by Curtis, second by McKellar. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Benny. Renissa.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm before you today to ask you to approve, actually M2 and M3 kind of go together. It's two contracts that I need you to approve. Based on the recent departure of our city engineer, Lisa Crossman, it was necessary for the city of Tyler to look at getting interim services for the engineering department. The first item, which is item number M2, is going to be for the contracting services from HDR. HDR is an engineering firm with over 10,000 employees. They have 800 employees actually in Texas with 8 offices here. The closest office here is Dallas. However, they do recently have a presence here in East Texas by way of Bullard. We interviewed 2 firms, Lochner, which is a local firm, as well as HDR, and we had 2 great candidates that we interviewed for the interim services contract. The candidate that we've chosen is Jacob Walker. Jacob is an 11-year PE. He's been with HDR for about 8 years. Jacob also does interim city engineering work for other cities in Texas. Currently, he's working with the city of Taylor, and I think he's been doing that for quite a bit of time right now. He has a lot of experience with municipal government, but the most important thing is that he has the weight of the actual organization behind him. So if there are some deficiencies or areas where he has questions or needs additional expertise, he's able to reach back into the company and gather that from his colleagues or coworkers. We're proposing the contract go for 7 months, as we believe that the recruitment for the engineer will take about 5 to 6 months, and we would want a transition period for him to be able to download information into the new city engineer. The contract is for $150,000. $75,000 of the contract will be paid from the engineering department's budget, and $75K will be paid through the half-cent budget. Are there any questions, or would you like to speak to Jacob?
Anybody have any questions first for Renissa?
I do. First thing, you know, I'm a big buy local first guy, so I'm sure that the differences between the local firm and HDR were well defined, but I just simply wanted to make that statement. Second is on the funding of this, because we certainly need for Jacob to begin his job and get started. With $75,000 coming from the half-cent sales tax fund, is that in compliance with the way the ordinance was written for sales for half-cent? Because, and my question is that goes back to that sales tax ordinance was written for infrastructure and specific projects, and so I can see where it would be used on the next item that we're going to consider. But this is not a particular project that these funds are going to be used for. It's going to be for the employment of this gentleman to perform engineering services for the city.
The Half-Cent Sales Tax Corporation Board approved it yesterday, and it is in compliance because they can use it towards engineering services, of which this person is also managing engineering services that are coming through that their half-cent is moving forward.
So not just for a specific project, it can be used for general engineering services.
Correct.
Okay,
But
thank you.
their general engineering services related to half-cent projects.
Got it.
Any other questions for Renissa? Anybody want to have Jacob come up and say a few words? I do. Come on up.
Thanks, Mayor. I was hoping that I could. Good morning, Mayor, Council, City Manager. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Really excited that HDR has this opportunity. We are, as Ms. Wade said, we're a large engineering firm with a hyper-local presence. I live in Bullard. We've relocated here with the intention of working in Tyler area, so we hope to be this local firm, Councilmember that you mentioned, as we grow. Also, we are over 100 years old as a company in general, 100% employee owned, and that's from bottom level to top, so it's broad-based employee ownership. We serve, and 99% of our clients are municipalities, government entities, so we are a infrastructure-first firm. We don't really do private development or anything like that, so our focus is on governmental entities similar to the city of Tyler. We've been in Texas for 60 years, and although we have a lot of resources, we are a local firm in a sense of our commitment to our clients and our presence. I'm excited to be here. I've been an engineer for, as Renessa said, 11 years, been with Texas A&M University, and my family and I are blessed and excited to be here. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to have you. You know, one of the things that we really try to do, and we can always do better, is customer service. And I know that you've been here a very short time, but have already spent over an hour with one contractor. And your discussions, I believe, are if you have an issue, tell us what your issues are so we can figure out a way to make it better. So first of all, I want to say thank you for reaching out to this contractor and developing this relationship and dialogue to where if there are needs or wants that we are there to seek your input, and so I appreciate you doing that.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Actually, I have another meeting scheduled on Friday with a local engineering firm to get some feedback from their perspective as well, contracting, consulting, and then internal staff getting to know all of the faces and names here. So certainly here to be an advocate for the city and help connect the dots as I can.
Great. Any other questions or comments for Jacob? All right. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Got a motion from McGee,
Second.
second from McKellar. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything else on M3, or do we?
Well, I think I need to
Yeah, go ahead.
get a vote on M3 as well. That was a vote on M2, I believe.
Yes, that's okay. Do I enter? By motion?
Oh, they're both together?
No,
No,
we did them
separate.
separately.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, got a motion from McKellar, second from Curtis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Renessa. Welcome back.
Thank you. B1, request that the city council consider appointing a member to the Civil Service Commission due to Councilmember Haney being elected as city council member. We need to fill that position on the city council, on the Civil Service Commission. We had two applicants, Patrick Woods and Christina Ross. So asking which person you would like to appoint. We just have one spot.
I move that we appoint Patrick Woods. Y'all have any questions about Mr. Woods? Both are great candidates. I know them both. But I reached out to Mr. Woods and asked for him to see if he was interested in this. He looked into it, said it's perfect for his background, and I think it'd be a great fit on the commission.
Okay.
Could you share with us who's on that board right now?
It was Councilmember
Right.
Haney,
Lee Correa and
Steve Brown.
Steve Brown. Yep.
Okay, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Lee Correa
Okay,
and then Steve Brown. It's only a three-member commission.
okay. All male?
No, Lee is a female.
Oh, okay.
So is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Motion by Haney, second by McGee. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the consent agenda, and we are pulling CA1 to be heard at a later date. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull CA6 for further discussion.
Okay?
And I move that we accept the consent agenda with CA1 being pulled and CA6 being pulled for discussion.
Okay?
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Westbrook, second by McKellar. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we will hear CA6.
Just real quick, CA 6 is a replat of lots 92 and 93 out at East Shores Estate Unit 7 located on Lake Tyler East. It was requested by the property owners. They're requesting to replat the lots into a single lot to build a home in the center of their property. And so they pay their fees, and as per ordinances, comes to council then for approval.
No further questions. I just wanted to hear the explanation about Lake Tyler properties.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve CA6.
Move to approve CA6.
Second.
Motion by Westbrook, second by Wynn. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. City Manager's report.
Mayor and council, a few things of note just for our community to be proud of. Tyler has been ranked number 17 in the top 20 safest cities in Texas for 2021 by Safety.com. Safety.com looks at and reviews all the data from cities and statewide, and then ranks Tyler as in the top 20 for its combined ranking of public safety scores, including the most recent crime statistics and financial security metrics. A big major just achievement for our community that we have pushed behind, the whole community has pushed behind, which was the legislature before they recessed gave approval to the new UT Medical School that will be located here in Tyler. And so this will be one of the 7 medical schools that the UT system has, and it's the first here in Northeast Texas. And so with that approval in Senate Bill 1, which was the state's biennial budget, and the governor's signature on that, we are now on our way to having a medical school here in Tyler, Texas. A couple of things of note for the Parks and Recreation Department. They received a Texas Parks and Wildlife Local Parks Grant for the Rose Complex Park totaling $749,000. This is a very competitive grant that is done, and they were able to bring this in, and that will be used to help with the park setting that we will have as part of the Rose Complex. It's a very extremely competitive grant, and our staff actually were the ones that put together the application that got approved. And then another grant that was approved by TxDOT that they let us know about was for Legacy Trails 2. This will be the one that starts at Stewart Park as the trailhead and ultimately go up just short of the Rose Complex itself, linking those areas together. And so we're very excited about that one. And with that approval, now we'll begin really as far as the actual planning process, the engineering, the design, and looking forward to construction so that we'll be able to have the continuation of our trails, linking especially the Stewart Park to the Rose Complex. And then a special note that I want to make about some of our heroes yesterday. As y'all know, we had tornado activity come out of nowhere. We had a soccer camp that was going on out at Lindsay Park at the time. And our parks crews out there, Dorian Lindsay, Paul Hill, and Andrew Rutherford, they spotted the tornado, and the kids were all out there. They all had cell phones, great footage, and got those kids, get in our restroom facilities that we had there to secure them, secure the facility to make sure that no one was hurt. As trees were pulled out of the ground, parks equipment was thrown around, all of those children were safe because of the work and the measures that Dorian, Paul, and Andrew went into as soon as they saw that danger was there. So we're very grateful to them for protecting our citizens.
Is that it?
That's it, sir.
Any other comments for City Manager?
How much was the grant, the first one, for the?
The first grant was essentially $750,000,
Wow.
$749,999.
And I'll make one more comment on that. For those of you that have not watched the video, either here or on Facebook Live, you can pull it up on YouTube, Tyler Rose Complex. 3 minutes and 6 seconds. It's a great video, so watch it. Any other comments?
Mayor, just one comment. Commend the city manager on his staff. I've gotten dangerous and learned and used the City of Tyler app to report different things, and other people have too when they ask me how to contact the city, and every one of them said how responsive your staff are to potholes, to trash, to other things. So I do have a couple others that I'm going to send in as I drive around, but send them in, I get a note, the next day, I see your crew out there, even in the rain, fixing a pothole. So I commend you for your staff and the work they do.
They do incredible work, yes, sir.
All right, we do have an executive session today. Let me read through all this. The city council may go into executive session regarding any item posted on the agenda as authorized by Title 5, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Notice is hereby given that city council may go into executive session in accordance with the following provision of the Government Code. Under Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, personnel matters, deliberation regarding the following: the employment duties and evaluation of the city manager. Not sure how long this will take. I don't expect any action, so we are going to go into executive session. Thank you. waiting on the light.
Oh.
Bob, you back there?
The unblinking eye.
Don and Mayfair got to get you.
All right, we are back from executive session, and we have no action, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.
See you guys.